President Trump, Administrator Biden preparing for the debates. We've got the freedom of Julian Assange, perhaps almost inevitably going to happen. But I want to talk to with you a moment about the nightmare. We are in this nightmare of chaos that has been purposefully thrust upon us by the radical left. I've got to talk about it. I want to talk about it. I want to say names out loud. I want to give out information that you're only going to find right here. We have got to help each other wake up. That is my mission, and I'm doing it with your help. We cannot permit ourselves to continue down the path of chaos. We have, in the Christian tradition, patron saints. The radical left have patron demons, and key among them, chaos. We're going to talk about it today. Ladies and gentlemen, the right side with Doug Billings is now upon you. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hey everybody, my name is General Mike Flynn, and I'm here to do a big shout out for my great friend and one of the best in the business, Mr. Doug Billings. Right side with Doug Billings, right side with Doug Billings. Doug is the future of the airwaves when it comes to independent broadcasters and podcasters. He is the new Rush Limbaugh. He's exactly what America needs right now, looking for honesty, looking for wisdom, looking for truth, looking for patriotism. Listen to Doug Billings at Right Side with Doug Billings. God bless you and God bless America, and thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are winning. We're winning, winning, winning. Welcome to the Right Side with Doug Billings. Are you ready?
We are not liberal snowflakes who melt away in the face of tragedy, adversity, and challenge. We are a covenant nation under God, and his divine providence is not dead and it's not gone. It is living within each and every one of you. And you will bring it to life in such a way that the world has never seen before. We never back down. We never give up. We march forward.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hey, the Right Side with Doug Billings coming to you live, and we take your calls. You want to get in line for this fun, 901-316-8404. Ladies and gentlemen, 901-316-8404. As always, taking your calls. Topic of the day, please, topic of the day, and today. Reminding you, DougBillings.us is where it all happens. It's where it begins for me. It's where it ends over there for me. DougBillings.us. Ladies and gentlemen, you can support the show over there. We ask you to prayerfully consider recurring monthly donations to help the support of this show so we can continue to bring you the truth where you can't find on legacy media. The show is given to you for free. We just ask that you perhaps prayerfully consider supporting it and paying whatever you think it might be worth, $5, $10, $20, $100, whatever it may be. But you can do all of that at DougBillings.us. It's our website. There's also other stuff over there, news and shopping and all sorts of things that you can keep up to date with and on at DougBillings.us. So today, ladies and gentlemen, lots going on. Talk about the debate. Everybody's talking about the debate. Of course, President Trump and Administrator Biden going about preparations in their own way. Biden locked away and sequestered up at Camp David. He will not make a public appearance until the night of the debate, which is Thursday, a couple of nights from now. President Trump continuing as normal, campaigning, not surrounded by 16 to 20 debate experts, and continuing his normal routines because he can multitask. We could talk about that. We did to a degree yesterday. We're looking forward to that night. Clearly, I will be talking about the debate on Thursday night leading up to it right here on these social media platforms that you're watching the program on, key among them DougBillings.us and WorldViewTube.com, along with Spreely TV, our partner over there. We'll talk about all of that. There's also Julian Assange in the news. His release appears to be imminent, and rightly so. We're going to do a show about him in the coming days. But what I wanted to focus on, ladies and gentlemen, with you, is again this cascade of chaos that we have been experiencing since Administrator Biden took office. And yes, I referred to him as Administrator Biden. Never call the guy president. I have never done that. He occupies the White House. I get it. We need to vote him out of the White House in November. I get that. Our local involvement is the answer. But I feel moved today to talk to you and with you about this cascade of chaos, the chaos specifically that's resulting from the open border policy of the Biden administration. And to make it clear, Trump had it locked down pretty well. Biden on his first day comes in there with his executive pen and he opens everything up. This is a matter of record and a matter of fact. It is not just my opinion. And I want to appeal to those of you who maybe, I know you're out there, you liberals who watch this program and you troll me on social media. It's all fine and good. I'll take it. I'll click on my stuff anytime. It's fine. But I know that you're out there. And I also know that there's decent people out there among this audience who may have voted for Administrator Biden. That's okay, ladies and gentlemen. You are forgiven. We're walking you off that ledge of chaos, and we're walking you into the room of freedom and conservative values. Today, in all seriousness, I want to know, at what point do people who are not already fed up with our border crisis, when do the others become fed up? When are they going to get fed up at what is happening? Every day, story upon story upon story of illegal immigrants who perpetrate horrendous crime on American citizens and American property and so forth. Every day, another life is lost at the hands of an illegal immigrant. All of this, and again, this is a matter of fact, all of this is directly related to and proportionate to Administrator Biden opening up the borders the very day he stepped foot into the White House, erasing everything that President Trump did to secure the border and our republic. And he didn't erase it, Biden didn't, for anything that's beneficial. Evidence of the obvious is sufficient, my friends. He erased it at the bequest of the radical left woke mob in the elected class and amongst the general public, because it represented an erasure, if you will, of President Trump. They have to, and they must, the radical left, erase any remnant of President Trump. Nothing that he did or accomplished can stand. They erased the border security measures put in place because that represents President Trump and his success. So at what point what point will it take that decent human beings come together in agreement that the border needs to be shut down and America needs to be isolated by itself for a time while we grapple with correcting, this situation of historical proportions, this mistake of historical proportions? When does it begin to dawn on the people who support Biden? Because I know there are decent and good people who do, in fact, support Biden. We have to correct it. When I say America needs to isolate itself, by the way, temporarily so, American isolationism, absolutely, because we need to correct this by focusing on rounding up and deporting as many of these illegal immigrants as possible. And we need to stand united in resolute determination, in what I call determined patriotism. It's the hard work of patriotism, of being a patriot. Determined patriotism. No matter how many woke, radical, left liberals are going to cry, and they will, about separation of families, Doug. If we deport people, you're going to separate families and children. Instead of focusing on upholding law and order and the value of the legal pursuit of United States citizenship. Look, we have more sympathy on the conservative side for the human condition than the radical left does. Don't be fooled. They'll talk a big game about it, but look at the evidence of what their actions are. They talk a big game about the open border and how America is more secure than ever. We can't get Alejandro Mayorkas to talk about anything of substance with regards to what he's done in conjunction with the administration of Joe Biden, about the dangers that we're in now. We've got to get a grip on this, and I'm sick and tired of reading the news almost daily about how a young, vibrant human being was viciously, savagely murdered, beaten by criminals who are being released from their homeland penitentiaries and encouraged to come here by their former captives to destroy the lives of innocent people. I'm sick and tired of it. And we have got to take a stand, and it's going to take time, and we have got to focus on this. I think it's the number one issue that we face as a republic, beyond anything that's going on in Europe, and that includes Ukraine, beyond anything that has to do with the economy. And because it deals with the very soul and the very fabric of the foundation of this republic. The millions upon millions, 20 million at the last count, who have come over look, there are nefarious reasons for all of this, for the numbers that are coming over here. Key among them, it bolsters the electoral base of the Democratic Party. And secondly, it dilutes our American identity. And that is a real danger beyond anything, I think, that we're facing now in other parts, in other sectors, other news, other countries, whatever. It is the biggest issue that we are facing, this border crisis. And we've got to get a grip on it. There's two cases out there today that are making headlines. In the first case, we have the savage, the animal, Victor Hernandez, a criminal from El Salvador. He murdered young Rachel Morin. Now, I want you to listen. I'm going to show you a clip here in just a second. But listen to what Sheriff Jeff Galler said about this case. Pay close attention to what he says. Here's clip number 1, ladies and gentlemen.
Victor Hernandez did not come here to make a better life for himself or for his family. He came here to escape the crime he committed in El Salvador. He came here and murdered Rachel, and God willing, no one else. But that should have never been allowed to happen.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, people who are concerned, people who are genuinely concerned and angry, by the way, too, which is a natural emotion, right? Someone told me long ago when I was in the seminary studying to be a priest, there is nothing wrong with human emotions, anger, love, jealousy, any emotion. There's nothing innately wrong with them. It's what we do with those emotions that makes right or wrong, right? So any good, concerned person, in this case about victims of a crime, are able to name the victims. They're able to talk about these innocent human beings, just as the sheriff did, out of respect and with a sense of prayer. And I mention Rachel Morin. She did not deserve to be the victim of this border policy that's been put in place by Administrator Biden and the Communist Socialist Party. Mayorkas, who has often been interviewed, and I'm not going to show you a clip of Mayorkas. You know who this guy is. He is the Director of Homeland Security. He has done absolutely. He's been almost impeached, but we don't have enough spine in the Republican Party. So be that as it may, when he's interviewed, Mayorkas doesn't even name the victim. You know why? Because he doesn't know the name of the victim. He does not know Rachel's name. We're going to talk about Jocelyn Grenady in a moment, and he doesn't know her name. So trust me on this. He does not know them. Say her name, Director Mayorkas. Say her name. That's the challenge that you face today from us on the right side. But in both of these cases, you've got Rachel and you've got Jocelyn. Rachel, a 34-year-old who is a 34, 37-year-old fitness enthusiast murdered on a hiking trail. You've got Jocelyn, a 12, 13-year-old girl who stepped outside to go call her boyfriend. Both of them savagely beat. I'm talking about them today because I need to bring this up. This is the key issue facing. And the debate I hope that these moderators ask questions about the border, and I'm sure they will. It should be one of the key topics of the entire night on Thursday night. And I'm sure you agree with me. If you want to talk about these things, ladies and gentlemen, call me up, 901-316-8404, 901-316-8404, in memory of Rachel and Jocelyn. Going to talk about Jocelyn in just a moment when we come back. Want to remind you also that we have for you DougBillings.us, a website where you can land, you can help us continue to produce and distribute the program. Costs a little bit of money to do that. That's how I make a living. I want to come and visit you and be with you every night. So I ask everybody and every day, prayerfully consider going over to DougBillings.us and offering a voluntary recurring monthly donation, whatever you can afford, whatever you think the show's worth. Head over to DougBillings.us. Ladies and gentlemen, coming back to talk more about this and also to talk about the way out of this and how conservatives, because of the way that we're hardwired, how we can see and realize blessing that are yet unborn. Believe me, they are out there. You, yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, you have a pack of blessings on your back. We're going to talk about those, how you discover them, and how we see our way out of this nightmare. God bless you. I will be right back. Stay with me.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. Would you like to gain access to over 20 years of my radio shows, TV shows, my books? I've written 15 books, and most of those books are ebooks now. And we have conference DVDs, conferences where we filmed our conferences at the Ozarks, literally starting 20 years ago. It's all available in our archived vault. All you have to do is go to worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault, and for a reasonable monthly fee, you gain access to over 20 years of Christian worldview programming, news, information, books, documentaries, and a powerful search engine. And folks, it's a great way not only to educate yourself, equip yourself, but it's a big way that you can help fund our continuation as a broadcast network. Please check it out. worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault, and help us continue pushing out a Christian worldview.
You guys, I'm telling you right now, you're going to see a special on here, Brandon. You're the first one that is showing this right now. That Percale Sheets, remember that we had a box store, canceled their order again. Okay, those Percale Sheets, you see the original price there on the King or on the Queen. I believe it's, I can't read.
$99.98.
And then they were on sale on TV for much?
$39.98.
Now they're $34.98. So you take, and same with the King, you have $119 on sale everywhere in the country for $49.98. Here for Brandon for B66, $39.98. This is the lowest price you're going to see forever. This is it, the MyPillow bed sheet sale there. And then if you back it up, you guys. And then you're going to see also that, remember the extravaganza with the $25 MyPillows? This is where it all started. We've sold over 83 million MyPillows, the premium there with now with the new Giza tick. Doesn't matter if it's King or Queen, $25, any loft level. You guys, this is what keeps my factory going. This helps everybody, okay? And it helps you get the best sleep in history.
The Right Side with Doug Billings, where we meet in determined prayer and determined patriotism.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Doug Billings, The Right Side. Don't forget, if you want to join me, call in. I would love to talk to you about the topics of the day here. 901-316-8404, 901-316-8404. All right. We have, as I was saying before the break, I feel like I just need to talk about this chaos, and I want to get into specifically about it. Rachel Morin, again, just to recap briefly, 37-year-old fitness enthusiast, out for a walk on a trail, and her life was ended by a criminal, an illegal immigrant, released from an El Salvadorian prison, and encouraged, I'm sure, to come up here to the United States. Hey, Mr. Hernandez, the United States has open borders. Go on up and visit those people. President Trump was right, ladies and gentlemen. And anyone with any shred of common sense knows it to be true. Countries are releasing violent criminals. Hell, they're releasing nonviolent criminals with the intent, if not the direct orders, to leave their country of origin, come up to the United States because of the Biden open border policy. They're not sending us their brightest and smartest, are they? As Trump said. Oh, he's crucified for that one, Trump was when he said it. Oh, it's terrible. How dare he? Now, what do we have to say for it now? Evidence of the obvious, as I say, is sufficient. They are not sending us their best. And the left will mock us for saying it. And yes, just for the record, I'm sure there's a few decent people getting in over here. But just because they're decent people doesn't give them the right to just shirk the laws of citizenship and of immigration, legal immigration. We are a nation of law and order. If we don't have that, we don't have anything. I'm so grateful to the Supreme Court, who last week ruled, and rightly so, that illegal immigrant spouses of American citizens do not have an automatic right to citizenship. They do not. I'm so glad. If you didn't hear about that, look it up. A big case out of the Supreme Court. Illegal immigrants who happen to be married to American citizens do not have an automatic right to citizenship. They have to go through the legal process. And ladies and gentlemen, if that means that these people have to go home to their countries of origin to file the paperwork and do it, which is what they should do, we've got to hold that person, those people, accountable to the laws of the land. And don't let the cries of, that's going to separate children and families. The children and families will remain together. Go back to the country of origin of the person who you want to immigrate legally to this country. Go back together as a family and do it the right way, like untold hundreds of millions of people have done since the day the country was founded. We cannot and will not make excuses. And then in the news today is the 12-year-old, 13-year-old Jocelyn Nunn Gary. She left her house, as I said just before the break, going to go call her boyfriend. And then we have Johan Jose Martinez Rangel, who's 22 years old, and we have Franklin Jose Pena Ramos, who's 26 years old. Criminals here illegally, violent men come upon Jocelyn, force her into the car, and another brutal, slow, violent death and sexual torture and abuse takes place. And they dump her body in a Houston bayou. And then you look at this thing. I mean, I guess at least the judge in this particular case has imposed a $10 million bond on one of the criminals. They're waiting for the other one to be processed. But at least there's that, because so often you read stories about, especially in, well, only in the blue states, where you have radical left state district attorneys and attorneys general who don't prosecute. Or if they do prosecute, it's very light sentences, and they're let out early. So at least we've got the $10 million bond.
Let's bring in Harris County District Attorney.
We'll take it when we can get it. And we say finally, because like I said, so often we do not prosecute with extreme prejudice these criminals who perpetrate these crimes, and they're let out early. Some of them commit gun crimes, and then the whole radical left-wing mob screams about gun violence when there's no such thing as gun violence. There is no such thing. Guns can't be violent. People can be violent, and people can use guns for violence sake. We have enough laws on the books to really deal and put a dent with all of this. But the radical left mob, bent on continually releasing chaos upon us, want the violence to continue. What other conclusion can we draw? If they really wanted to put an end to it, why don't they act? Why did Biden open the borders on the first day of his office in the White House? Why did he do it? If not just for the sheer chaos, the results of what chaos does, scares people. Makes people run to the government for help. Help me, big daddy government. Be my sugar daddy. Help me. That's not what the founders intended, but that's what they want. They think, and especially with this border issue, that these people coming over here are going to be part of their electoral base. That's right. The Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, wants these people to be part of their electoral base. Vote for me. Vote for me, Jose. Vote for me, Ahmed. Vote for me, whoever your name is, Mr. or Mrs. Illegal Immigrant, and we'll give you free stuff. Just keep the chaos coming. If you think this is not part and parcel of what they're doing, you've been sleeping, my friends, and I'm here to gently remind you. Wake up. Wake up, and the nightmare will come to an end, and take action in your local levels of government. But I want to talk a little bit about Jocelyn, give her her fair share of credit, and mention her out loud. Jocelyn. In a clip here, I'm going to show you Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg. She talks about Jocelyn and the two animals who killed her. Here, take a look at this clip.
Let's bring in Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg. It's an honor to have you on the show today. Could you tell us a little bit about the details that we are finding out about this case and how strong the evidence is? Because if this, as I understand it, what Nate just said, if it turns out that there is evidence that is proven about a sexual assault, then the death penalty is on the table?
The case is horrific. Jocelyn's last moments were unspeakable. She endured assault for multiple hours. This was a little girl who slipped out of her house to call her boyfriend, a 13-year-old, was seen by two immigrants who had been drinking all afternoon. They picked her up, probably asking for directions, and she was innocent. She walked off with them. We see footage from local stores that show they lured her under a bridge near a Houston bio where they attacked her, strangled her, and drug her body into the water. The evidence is clear that a sexual assault likely happened, but since neither defendant has actually admitted that, circumstantial evidence will have to prove it. We're waiting on lab tests now to see if the capital murder charge can be upgraded to one where they are death penalty eligible.
So we've got to stand up for these two victims. We've got to stand up for all victims, ladies and gentlemen. You do not stand up for these people by allowing chaos to continue to rain down upon us. You don't stand up for the victims and their families by not speaking out about this. This should be an issue that unites everyone. And I of course, in a way, I hesitate to say it, but in a way, Administrator Biden has united America. He's united America against him and his agenda of the radical left communist socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. And that's really partly true. He has united us against these policies. The majority of people in America are completely tuned in and aware of the border crisis. We've got to stand up for the victims. These two today and everyone, unfortunately, who will probably follow because of the illegal immigration problem that we have in this country. 2 innocent lives lost, fallen prey due to illegal immigrants coming into this country unfettered for the last 4 years. And it's clear that the Biden administration look away from it. They won't deal with it. They don't care. They don't want anything to do with it. They don't desire any real change about this. They could have stopped it immediately. And the left-wing media and talking heads on social media platforms are all in their camp. They'll do everything they can to support the narrative from the Biden camp. Oh, Trump could have stopped it. The Congress could have stopped it. Biden wanted it. And, just as 2 or 3 weeks to a month ago, Biden wanted to stop it. The Republicans didn't vote for it. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Take a look at Mayorkas. I just want you to juxtapose him against the sheriff that we heard from earlier and the district attorney here that we just saw. Take a look at our wonderful Director of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas. Take a look.
I want to ask you about the murder of this Maryland mother that has been in the news. It's gotten a lot of attention. She was killed last year. An undocumented immigrant was just arrested in her death last week.
Of course, our hearts break for the children, the family, the loved ones, the friends of the individual who was murdered, the woman, the mother.
The individual, the person, the mother. Are you kidding me? Alejandro Mayorkas, name the person. Name her. Rachel Warren is her name. Can you please say it? He can't. And this is not just an accident. This is not a matter of Mayorkas just being unprepared. He doesn't know the name. Are you kidding me? And it is chaos. It is chaos, and the radical left liberals want it. I don't have any other possible conclusion to draw. Why do they continually let it happen? The only conclusion that we can draw, ladies and gentlemen, is because they want the chaos. And I trust that you good people in the audience believe that, because you can see it every single day. Don't just take my word for it. Just look at what's going on. You'll see millions of people coming into this border illegally. You've seen it for the last 4 years. Unfettered access. You see the crimes these people are committing once they're over here. You know full well who's responsible. And I pray that the majority of Americans continue to see this, because the majority and the numbers of the people do, believe me. And I hope that the people who, John and Jane Doe, again, on the streets of Main Street America, who may have voted for Administrator Biden, are waking up and saying, this is not at all what I had in mind. And they're coming over to the right side, and they're supporting President Trump in November, precisely because of the chaos. So you see, there's always blessing. I'm going to get into that. I'm not being flippant about that. There's always a good side to the story every time. And because we all know these things, because we know of the immigration crisis, because we know of the crime that these immigrants cause, we have a moral responsibility to do the things required to stop them from happening. And that means for those of you, again, who may have voted for Administrator Biden, you have to change that vote this November. So much to talk about. And I do want to get into the hope that surrounds all of this. And not just with these two particular cases, but in general, hope that surrounds America, the Republic, and you, ladies and gentlemen. The conservative mindset, how we are wired when tragedy, adversity, and challenge strikes us, and how to arrive at the blessings that are there yet unborn in our lives when these things happen. Stay with me. I'll be right back. Cheers.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. Melissa and I have been taking Bella Grace, this powerful elixir, since last fall, 2023. The results have been amazing. My hands would crack and bleed, deep cuts and cracks every winter for years. No matter what we did, we couldn't get them to stop cracking and bleeding. This year, I took Bella Grace, no cracking, no bleeding. My acid reflux, gone. Haven't had to take a Pepsid. My hair growth, the last 2 times I had my hair cut, the lady had to use thinning shears on my hair. That's amazing. We've also received incredible feedback from you, our listening audience, and the impact it's had for you. This is loaded with astaxanthin. That's a powerful antioxidant. Collagen, but top grade collagen. Studies show 95% of it is being absorbed in the body because of the way they develop it. Then we have something called cat's claw. That's an anti-inflammatory from a vine in Peru. It's the bark, and it's an anti-inflammatory. There are about 80 clinical trials on Bella Grace. Please get a subscription now and save. MelissaHouseBG.com.
The Right Side with Doug Billings, coming to you from the fruited plains of America.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Here we go. All right. Hey, don't forget, get in line. The phone lines are open, 901-316-8404, 901-316-8404. I'd love to talk to you about all of this, the news of the day, and the hope that we know still resides in the blessings that are there waiting to be born within America, even though we're in a time of nightmare. So the vote that we all have, the responsibility that we have as Americans to do something to stem the tide of this chaos and the crime that has been unleashed upon us purposefully, by the way. This is no mistake. This is not just accidental, it's not just accidental policy or politics. It's not collateral damage. This is purposeful, what they're doing. The opening of the border was purposeful. Again, to recap, they want these people to become part of their electoral base, and they want the American identity to be diluted by these people. We need to regain our grip on law and order. Otherwise, we are in big trouble. But we are. So the selection that we have, the decision that we have this November is bigger than just the choices between two human beings, my friends. The election is about answering a moral imperative. No person, no political party is perfect. I get it. But this year, on the one side, we have a man in a political party whose platform, politics, and policy leads to the kind of stories we're talking about today. Stories of heartbreak, of brutality, of rape and murder. A man whose political party will leave open the borders. A man whose political party believes that America needs to be fundamentally transformed. A man whose political party wants to dilute and eventually erase the American identity that was inspired by God and handed to us by the founding fathers. A man who, in this particular political party, who has not taken the time to call the families of Rachel Morin or Jocelyn Nungary. And in the other case, in the other camp, we have a man and a political party whose platform, politics, and policies support law and order, value human life, believes that walls and borders have a purpose and will do everything to build up and strengthen them, believes that God inspired this republic. On the other side, we have a man who believes in the intent of the founding fathers for our republic, who loves America and her exceptionalism, who supports police, law enforcement, law and order, and our military. A man who has taken the time, mind you, to call and console the families of these murder victims. Trump and Biden, and you'll see them together on Thursday night. Thursday will be the first time you've seen Administrator Biden in the last several days because he's getting juiced up, prepared, and educated by 16 professional debaters. Trump is carrying on his normal life because Biden doesn't have the passion, the wherewithal, the charisma, the mental capacity to talk with passion from the heart without rehearsing and memorizing things. Trump will clearly research and review the issues, but Trump will not depend and doesn't need to depend on a written speech or memorization, certainly not a cocktail of God knows what's being ingested by Administrator Biden. But Trump can do both. He can multitask. There is no mental decline in President Trump. There is clearly accelerated dementia in Administrator Biden. And so we'll see them on stage talk about these issues. I hope, and I'm certain there will be, I hope that there's questions asked about the border and specifically these two young ladies. I hope so. If not, Trump should bring it up in the course of his answer to other questions. You're going to see it's all on Biden. All of the pressure in the world is on Administrator Biden to perform well on Thursday night. Any kind of gaffe, any kind of miscue, any kind of slip, any kind of fall, and I mean not just a mental fall, but a physical one. Anything like that happens, he's toasted more than he is currently. So in the midst of these tragedies, there is hope. And here's where I segue into what may seem incredibly difficult to believe for many of you. But I've told you before, conservatives, we good people, we know that during times of adversity, challenge, and tragedy, that there are blessings which may have no idea, we may have no idea of them at this moment. But I promise you, in every instance, everyone, and words are important, in every instance of adversity, challenge, and tragedy, there are blessings waiting to be born, even if we don't realize it now, and even if it seems impossible to fathom that concept. There are. And although it seems impossible, perhaps maybe crazy, maybe Billings are crazy, there's nothing good that can happen out of these murders, nothing. I can tell you that the families of Rachel Morin and Jocelyn Nungary will one day, see and realize blessings from this, even though that might sound crazy right now. They will find blessing. And in that belief, in this hope, we can glean and understand how America can be restored to the divine providence of God. Earlier in the program, just a moment ago, before the break, I mentioned chaos. I do believe that the chaos is purposeful. In my heart, my mind, and my soul, I believe that the radical left Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, is doing this on purpose. The chaos that's being thrust upon us from this radical left, liberal, woke, Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat, ladies and gentlemen, all purposeful. I challenge anybody out there to show me that it's not. This is not accidental. Like I said, it's not collateral damage that's just happening as a result of other decisions that are being made. This is specific. And there have been specific discussions about this on the Democrat, Communist Socialist side, whether it be conference call or Zoom call or board meetings or whatever. This is being discussed. How can we purposefully inflict chaos on this country? We need chaos. We need good crises, because during times of chaos and crisis, people depend on the government. That's how we draw people into us. That's how we get more people to vote for us. Draw them in, let them come over the border, give them a box of ballots, drop them off to the guy in the white van, and in return, we'll give them all sorts of free stuff. This is happening on purpose. Chaos. The patron demon of the Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. Think about that. We in the Christian world have patron saints. And while we don't look to the saints for our salvation, we all know that our salvation comes from Jesus. We know that. But we do look to the saints, who are human beings like us, who overcame adversity, challenge, and tragedy in this life to arrive at glory in heaven in the next life. And so it makes sense that we look to the saints for inspiration and for hope. And it makes sense that we ask the saints to pray for us. It's much the same thing as when I ask you, good people, to pray for me and for the success of this show, for your prayers, and that you go to DougBillings.us and you prayerfully consider monthly recurring donations. It's the same thing. We depend on each other. And you can better believe that I will meet you in prayer. I will pray for you. I pray for your intentions, the intentions of the members of this audience every morning when I attend Mass. I do. This is how we are wired as conservatives. We believe in this. We know it to be true. And I say, and I ask these things because I have faith, and I know that you do. I believe that you good people want good things to happen in this republic. And we believe in the power of prayer. That doesn't compute with the radical left Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. They can't get that in their... In fact, they've removed God from their politics, their platform, and their policies. Completely removed him. They'll bring it up. Oh, they'll claim that they believe in God when it makes sense for a good soundbite. Biden going to Mass, give me a break. I'm a Catholic. I can tell you right now, Joe Biden is not a Catholic, not in good standing. Whether or not any member of the church hierarchy says it doesn't matter. I can tell you he's not. As my friend Father James Altman says, you cannot be a Christian. And if you're from Raytown, Missouri, Catholics are Christians. You cannot be a Christian and be a member of the Democrat Party. It's impossible. The two platforms don't align. The Republican Party is not perfect. I admit that. But at least we aspire to support and hold true to the value of human life. At least we aspire to believe in law and order and the value of God and his divine providence and the role he had within the formation of this republic. At least we believe in the founding fathers' intent for this republic. The radical left want to transform America away from all of that. And those are not my words, they're their words. They don't have patron saints like we do. They have patron demons. And we have seen the demon chaos unleashed upon us by the radical left elected class in a way such as we have rarely seen in the history of the world. But we have something more important on our side. We have each other, yes. We have belief. We have faith. We have God. And I don't think enough people say this. We are in primary season now in many parts of this country. We have a presidential election coming up in November. And I don't think enough candidates are saying this, what I'm telling you now. And if they did, if these candidates would say this, the Democratic Communist Socialist Party is doing this on purpose. Chaos is real. They have unleashed the demon of chaos. It is not an accident. We have God. We believe in blessing born from tragedy. Say these things. People will follow you, Mr. or Mrs. Candidate. God promises that he is with us in the face of tragedy, when we experience adversity and challenge, he is there. The radical left cannot wrap their head around that. We're members of a cult. Oh my God, yes, and you think Trump is going to get you out of this. What a cult. Ladies and gentlemen, they do that and they say it because it scares the hell out of them because they know it's right. They know ultimately that there is a God. Their hierarchy wants to shelter him, sequester him, excommunicate him, eliminate him from the public square. It's the first thing that must go in a communist socialist regime. And I know historically communism and socialism don't blend, but these guys, you got to hand it to them. The elected class in our country and the elected class in countries around the planet have blended communism and socialism together. And in America, it's why I refer to them as the Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. The Democrat Party of John F. Kennedy does not exist anymore. The Democratic Party of Bill Clinton doesn't even exist anymore. And believe it or not, the man who started this transformation away from Democrat to Communist Socialist, the Democratic Party of Barack Obama doesn't even exist anymore. We are in full force Communist Socialism, formerly known as the Democratic Party. And you cannot be a member of the Christian faith community and be someone who supports that political movement. It is absolutely impossible. Father James Altman said it first, and he's absolutely right. Credit to him for having the guts to say it. He's speaking the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm up against another break already. Hey, don't forget the phone number, 901-316-8404. One more block left. Would love to get you here on the program, 901-316-8404. Talk to me. Give me a call. What does this make you feel like? I'll be right back after this break. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that you could change the trajectory of your aging process? Look and feel better, live younger, be more active, less pain when you move around, sleep better, diminish the lines and the wrinkles on your face? Really? This is what I'm telling you. It's possible. You see, low stem cell activity happens when we get older. And it could be causing many of the health problems that some people have in the world today. Because as we get older, we have less stem cell activity, which means we age faster and we heal slower. The secret is a clinically proven and patented phototherapy non-transdermal patch, whose technology is the result of over 90 clinical studies and over 20 years of research. Your healthier life can begin today, and you can discover true age reversal. Age reversal, ladies and gentlemen. Please go to liveyoungerwithdoug.us. Liveyoungerwithdoug.us, ladies and gentlemen. Get over there today. Or if you'd like, text my name, Doug, to 41372. Doug, text it, 41372. And get over to liveyoungerwithdoug.us. Get younger, feel younger. I'm doing it. I'm wearing this patch. I feel great, and so will you. God bless you, ladies and gentlemen. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
I want to tell you about the good people over at EMP Shield. Electromagnetic pulse, ladies and gentlemen. It can fry your home electrical system or your vehicle's electrical system. But if you attach one of these, now this is for your breaker box at home. There's a smaller version that goes on your battery of your car, your vehicle, that will prevent it from being fried in the event of an electromagnetic pulse. Because as you know, thanks to Administrator Biden, many people coming across the border now who don't exactly have the best of intentions. Protect yourself. EMPshield.com. Get huge discounts over there if you use the promo code Doug.
Doug Billings, driving the left crazy with the truth.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Right Side with Doug Billings. The truth hurts, and the truth is what we are all about on the right side. Look, the radical faith, hope, challenge, adversity, tragedy, blessings waiting to be born. This is real stuff, and I believe in it. Glad that you're out there. 901-316-8404 if you want to get in for the last few minutes of the program. 901-316-8404. talking about this, I want to describe what I'm talking about. You know, adversity, challenge, tragedy, the effects that it has, and why I believe there is so much hope out there waiting and blessing waiting to be born. I remember as a kid, even as an adult, I used to like to watch these nature shows that are on television. Specifically, I remember watching a program about volcanoes as a young adult. You've seen these shows before. You know, the volcano erupts, spewing forth lots of molten lava, a lot of it slowly, sometimes quickly, cascading down the volcano mountaintops, flowing downward. It scorches everything in its path, right? Everything is just scorched. And we can learn things from this imagery, I think, as I think about it. The volcano can represent the adversity, the challenge, and the tragedy that's in our lives, and we're scorched by it. We look at the landscape on these nature shows. It's scorching, kills everything in its pathway, melts cars and vehicles, burns the landscape, etc. And when we're going through adversity, challenge, and tragedy, it feels as if our lives are being scorched, doesn't it? We can identify with it. Divorce, death in the family, murder, the chaos that we see throughout America because of the Biden administration, all of this, it just feels like we're being scorched because of the adversity, the challenge, and the tragedy that is out there, that's purposeful. But when we go back to those nature shows and we continue to watch them, the volcano episodes especially, right? We notice that the lava eventually cools. And as time passes, new life begins to sprout up between the cracks and crevices in the lava. And what the experts say is that this new life that is springing up from the scorched earth is more fertile than the life that was there before. Ladies and gentlemen, so it is with us. So it is with us. With proper perspective, with faith in God and faith in each other, faith in our republic, our lives can become more fertile, more meaningful when we pass through adversity, challenge, and tragedy. So you see, I don't think it's so crazy at all to see hope through this and to know, even if we can't see it now, even if we can't sense any source of blessing, we know that it's out there. It's not easy, but if we take the time, this happens to us almost 100% of the time. And this is how conservatives are hardwired. We understand these things because of our faith. We have deep, convicted faith about this. In many ways, I think it's probably what John Adams was talking about when he said that the survival of our republic is dependent upon a moral and religious people. Our republic can't survive without these kinds of people, moral people, religious people. We need people to stand up today, and we will see these blessings be born. People like us who believe in America, who believe that God inspired the creation of America. People that believe the founders drafted our founding documents under the guidance and the inspiration of divine providence. People who believe that tragedy, adversity, and challenge can lead to blessings that are yet unborn. People like us who have the ability to resist the influence of the demon chaos and to wake up from the nightmare that we're in, and even more, to wake up other people who need to be awoken. Pray for one another. That's what our call. We meet. I say it on the show. It's one of the monikers of my program. We meet, you and I, in determined prayer and in determined patriotism. The determined prayer, being determined in our prayer every day. Get a prayer room, something, a space. If you don't have a room, dedicate a space to your prayer space, to your prayer life. I have a spare bedroom just next door, a prayer chapel. Every morning and night, morning and evening prayer. This is how it was intended to be. Founding fathers, all of them. Christian tradition, American family principles and values. All of this born from the Christian Judeo principles that founded and inspired the creation of this republic. We can make it. There are a pack of blessings on your back, no matter what you're going through today. I promise you. I have been through some of the worst experiences along with all of you, as we all have, and I'm here to tell you blessing is real. And the blessings that are born from these things is a real phenomenon. If God were to come down today and say, let's make a line of everybody who's made a mistake and fouled up in this life, Doug Billings would be first in that line. Maybe some of you have a feeling you'd be right there with me. But I know that I'd be first. Screw-ups, mess-ups, mistakes in life, and blessings that were resulted from them. Thank God for the gift of faith. Thank God that we have the ability to realize this and to understand that we can work our way through it. Yes, with the help of friends. Yes, with the help of prayer. Yes, indeed, with the help and intercession of the saints who we look to for advice and for guidance and for inspiration. And ultimately, as you all know, through Jesus himself. I don't harp on this a lot, but it needs to be said today. We are in such a situation. I am so worried that so many people out there are losing their ability to see wonder, joy, and meaning in this life because of the purposeful chaos that has been cast down upon us. This life is always wonderful, no matter what you're going through. I need you to believe it. Wonder, joy, and meaning in this life come to us because of the Christian values that we pursue and that what we believe in. Wonder, joy, and meaning in this world and in this life does not come to us from the coalition of immorality that would dare to suggest to us, for example, that children can only find happiness if they find out or if they believe that their gender misappropriated. Happiness, wonder, joy, meaning can be yours, little Johnny, little Sarah. All we have to do is mutilate your genitalia. That is not the pursuit of happiness, wonder, joy, and meaning. That is evil born in the world. And there are many people, including parents who think they're doing the right thing, who have been seduced by this. And the demon chaos and others, I don't care if you're don't go researching the name chaos as a name of a demon. I'm making an analogy about what we're experiencing. And I believe that the chaos that we're seeing is purposeful. It's not accidental. It's by design. And the people who have designed it and unleashed it upon us are in the elected class. They are in the billionaire class. They're in the media and celebrity class. And they've unleashed it and they perpetuate it purposefully upon us. But their time is drawing to an end. And the people who vote for and stand for Trump are the ones who they're coming after. This is not a cult. This is common sense. This is realization of the reality of good versus evil. This is people of a godly nature seeing the obvious and taking action against it. We can do this together. There's great hope in America. We are not on our deathbed, not on our deathbed at all. And so as my time with you tonight draws to an end, I want to remind you, keep this in mind. You can see the hope, you can live the hope, you can experience it. Blessings by untold thousands are waiting for you. With prayer, with perseverance, and having each other's back. I will meet you in prayer. I promise you. Your intentions are in my daily prayer. Please head over to DougBillings.us as we say goodbye again. I'll see you every Monday through Friday right here. It's 5 to 6 o'clock Central Time. DougBillings.us is where you need to go to support me. I will support you. And we, ladies and gentlemen, will see each other tomorrow. Believe it, ladies and gentlemen, for the Republic. Cheers.
Thank you for joining me today. It's amazing that with the debate and all the things coming up politically in the next several weeks, the next several months, isn't it something that really the dominant headline in the world today, not just in America, but in the world today, is the impending war. And we should be concerned. Let me tell you this, I've been following the news in Israel for a long time, for the better part of 30 or 40 years. And never have I seen things at the temperature they are at this moment. And so as we talk about an impending war, let me just show you a picture, because this picture is worth a million words. See the red dots? You can almost follow the border between Lebanon and Israel. And each of those red dots indicate war-related activities, fires. They're as a result of missiles being shot down, or being fired from Lebanon into Israel, maybe drones, maybe even small aircraft. Matter of fact, one of the things that's really quite sensitive at this moment is that some of the drones that Hezbollah has borrowed are miniature drones. And so to detect them is very difficult. And also to shoot them down, of course, is very difficult. But they have a whole new class of miniature drones. Israel knows exactly where they got them. And so that's another part of this whole wall of fire that we see here. Wow. We say that because you see, up until now, the world has been occupied with Hamas and Rafah and Gaza Strip. And today we're going to see how that's tapering down, because that part of the war is almost over. That part of the war is almost over, but this one seems to have new life. Why is Hezbollah such an incredible foe? Here's why. Because when you look at the border and you can see the Gaza Strip, where we've been occupied since October the 7th, and then you go up to Lebanon. Lebanon is way more endued with weapons from Iran and Syria and Russia. Now, there's no doubt that Hamas got their weapons from Iran, but these weapons have been stockpiling for years. And so we're going to see the effect of that and the point of that. But I want you to see how small Israel is. And I want you to see how close the proximity is. And you can see the location of Jerusalem, the West Bank. So here's the West Bank on the border of Jordan. It's a hot spot. Up, you go to the Golan Heights. That's on the border of Syria. That's a hot spot. You go to the north, there's Hezbollah. That's a hot spot. You go to the south, here's Hamas in Gaza Strip in Egypt. That's a hot spot. How would you like to be the size? This whole thing, to give you a perspective on, is the size of New Jersey. And in New Jersey, you've got these hot spots everywhere. Wow. That's why we talk about the fact of an impending war. And so as we look at this thing today, I want you to see what the Bible says about the end time and about the persecution of the Jewish people. I say that because you see, right now there's been quite a high terror alert in Jerusalem. And the reason is because they see what's taking place on the north. The buildup on the north is way bigger than it ever was in Gaza and Hamas. I keep telling the story that the hotel that I normally use in Galilee is about 80 or 90% occupied with Israelis who have been displaced to make sure that they're safe. We know that there's a limit to the missiles that they have in Hezbollah. They've got people out of reach, thank God. But we'll see how that this thing is really just waking up in a very big way. Is it severe? Yes. Is it dangerous? Absolutely. It should be demanding the full attention of the world. And for the most part, the world is getting the idea that this, unless something happens to intervene, this could be a disaster in many, many ways. Well, this guy is quite a fella. He's in Lebanon. And so he says, in case of an inclusive war is imposed on Lebanon, here's what we're going to do. Now look at that. Think about that statement. Hezbollah has fired somewhere close to 5,000 to 10,000 shots, missiles, drones, aircraft, weapons of one sort or another. Not trying to sort them out, not trying to give an exact number, but 5,000 or 10,000, that's a lot. Okay? And now this guy says that if Israel fires back in a systematic way, then Here's his threat. I want you to listen to him, and then we're going to come back and discuss this situation.
الحرب على لبنان فإن المقاومة ستقاتل بلا ضوابط وبلا قواعد وبلا أسقف. من يفكر في الحرب معنا سيندم إن شاء الله.
So he's making a typical threat. I don't even know that all those sites are actually nuclear installations in Israel. Yes, Israel does have nuclear power. Israel does have nuclear weapons. And Israel knows how to use them. That's not a threat, that's just a fact. But for him to say, whoever thinks of war against us will regret it. Yeah. You see, we've heard those kind of threats before. And so here's what he's saying, that if Israel defends itself against these barrage of rockets and missiles, that they're going to do their best to destroy one of the nuclear sites, bringing radiation contamination to the whole Middle East. Think about how serious that is. This is not a joke. This is for real. It would have to be done by missiles from Iran or Syria probably, because I don't know that Hezbollah has quite that capability, but they will try. And so here's the response. It's quite interesting, because here's Netanyahu. He says, fine, if that's what they're going to threaten, he says, we must defend our borders. We must be safe as a country. Good for him. What a leader. We need that kind of leadership somewhere in the world, don't we? And so he said, we will use white phosphorus in southern Lebanon. Now, the threat is that chemical warfare. It's certainly on the edge. White phosphorus, it means it's like a plastic. It's almost like a melted cheese. And it can burn the flesh. It can burn clothing. It can make inoperable landing strips and buildings and other things. Yeah, you see, this is a big deal. I say that because, you see, Israel gave a warning at the airport. At the airport, they said, you know what, by June 24th, those in Lebanon need to leave. And hundreds of thousands of people tried to leave. In other words, Israel said, if this breaks out, as they keep firing missiles, we have no choice but to defend ourselves. If they think they're going to threaten our nuclear sites, then so be it, we're going to do that. And if so, we're going to use white phosphorus. And you see how this is building? Sooner or later, someone's going to pull the trigger at the wrong moment. And war in the Middle East will be a reality, even bigger than the Hamas war. And so you're looking at people, some people said as many as 1 million left, but at least hundreds of thousands were lined up to leave. It's incredible. And here's one of the reasons why. Because you see, under the building, they found weapons that were couched, hidden in the Lebanon airport, in the Beirut airport. Yeah, so now you see why they wanted to warn them early and get them out of the way. And by the way, here's another picture. And this is incredible because Hezbollah, not only are they storing these Iranian weapons, missiles, explosives, and so on at the airport, but they come right from Iran. You see, while the world is sleeping, the Middle East is busy, and there's a dedicated search to wipe out the Jew, and it's particularly strong there. We're going to see how it's in our country as well. Because now, here's